it's the end of the session. I am not here with Macy. Macy is outside because Macy is very stressed. And I think that we have reached the limit of Macy's ability to be here. And so, or for us to be here. And so she started just staring, getting stiff and holding her breath. A stressful dog is often going to pant a lot. She was, but at the end, I think we were getting close to her level or the edge of what she could accept. And so if you get to that point, we'd rather put the dog away and give the dog a chance to catch her breath. So this is a roadmap to success. I'm going to try to summarize the things we went over in the session. Now the video above is going to be huge. Doggy Stairmaster. I'm guessing that you're probably going to be doing that at first, not as much as you will later on, because she's not in the best shape and she's a little bit like myself, a little bit thicker than probably she wants to be. But as you do this, she'll get better, more endurance, better stamina, and you'll do it more often. But I would like to see you trying it multiple times a day. So it'd be nice if you could do this in the morning before you feed her. So maybe get up, let her go out to do her business, then bring her back inside, close the dog door if she keeps on going to it, then do the Doggy Stairmaster. Remember, the first time you do it, follow the instructions, do it until you know the maximum number. And then basically you want to play around 50 to 75% of maximum number is how much you want to exercise. Probably more in the morning because they're fresh and they've got all the energy from sleeping overnight. So let's say it's 30 times or whatever it is. And then you let her cool down and you go take a shower and you get ready for work. When she's done, or when you come out, then you feed her. And I'd like you to feed her with a snuffle mat, probably for the next couple of months. And so you put the food down, work it into the snuffle mat, and a couple of them you put on top at first, and you could put a couple of these, if you get the tricky trainers, you could put a couple in there. Be careful not to do too much of that, because then she's like, I'm only going to eat the tricky trainers. We just want to get her used to the concept of burrowing to find it in the snuffle mat. If she gets into it, you might put it, moves around, you might put a dumbbell on top of it or a weight to keep her there. And you can wash it when it will get a little funky. So basically put it down there, and then I wouldn't let her in the kitchen first. So put it down, put all her food in it, work it in there, then get a carrot or your regular breakfast, whatever you want to eat. If you're not going to eat, just something in 5 more bites. Then ask her to come over and eat it, and call it lasagna, or whatever the word is you want to use every time that she takes the first bite of the food from the snuffle mat. Dogs usually get the snuffle mat pretty quickly. If she just turns her nose up and doesn't do it and walks away, as soon as she walks away, pick up the whole snuffle mat, put it in a room somewhere, close the door. She doesn't eat again until the next meal. She might go a day or two without eating, and she's probably can survive a day or two without eating. If it goes longer than 3 days, that's problematic. She's probably eating something outside. But this comes like a Hooplink's first scenario. You're not saying you can't eat. I'm giving you an opportunity. You have to eat when I tell you to. And if you don't, then the food goes away. After a while, now the food, you're the controller of the food, and that really helps her see you as more of an authority figure. And it's also kind of helping her break that I'm in charge mentality. If she's eating, as soon as she walks away from it, longer than 5 feet, pick up whatever's left and just put it up. And then she doesn't eat again until the next meal. Then basically you go to work, you do your thing. When you come home, maybe as soon as you come home, you do another version of the stairs. And then, you kind of do your ritual. Maybe an hour later, then you do a little scent game. And I'm not telling you to do exactly this. I would do that in the morning ritual, what I've described up to now. But then there are other stuff you're going to kind of do a little bit here, a little bit there. Scent games, the Omega Paw treat ball. You might play fetch with her outside. You might play tug of war with a deal. Take her for a walk. Remember, let her sniff on the walks. And remember, just drop that the device that you're using for her prong collar. I would prefer to have you just using that Easy Walk harness. That focus exercise I showed you that hopefully is linked above. If it's not, please remind me. I'll link it in there. I want you to practice the heck out of that. So when you do see a dog or person, you can say focus. If you say it with the other dog or person is so far away, you should be able to get her attention, turn around and walk away. And the main thing you want to do anytime your dog is reactive is increasing the distance. Dogs are front facing. They don't think about that. I'm going to bark and make that thing move away. Well, if you see it and the dog just slightly pays attention, you say focus. Well, the intensity, the treat's right here, and that thing is halfway down the block. So I turn and look, then you walk me this way, and eventually you walk me away from whatever it is. You're helping her manage it, just like you have kids. When they're cranky, you take them home early. So sometimes we have to manage things for the dog until it learns. All right, so let me think. So that's the exercise. Remember, for the drop, when she has one of her toys or a bone or something like that she's allowed to have, pull out that treat, hold it against her nose, and don't say drop. Just wait. Wait for her to do it on her own. If she turns her head away, that's fine. If she's saying it's too high a value, then get a higher value treat, or just wait for her to have a lower value item. But eventually, when she has something, you quietly pull it out, hold it right here, and she's going to drop it. When she drops it, under no circumstances should she pick it up, because that's what she's fearing you're going to do. As soon as she drops it, pop it in her mouth, say the word drop, and then show no interest in the item. And then go back to doing what you're doing. She picks up something else, repeat the same thing. You have a little table here. You could probably put some Tupperware or something like that here, so you have it handy, or you have your little treat pouch by PetSafe. And so now, every time you're saying drop it, I drop it, and good things happen. Eventually, when you're playing fetch, she will drop it for you. And when I play fetch, I say fetch 3 times. As I throw the ball, I say fetch. When the dog picks up the ball, I say fetch. And then I hold the treat out. When the dog comes over to me, I just hold it for their nose. When they drop the ball, then I pop it in their mouth and they fetch a 3rd time. Then I pick it up. And in her case, I'd probably tell her to sit. If she doesn't sit, then I will walk away. If she does sit, then throw the ball as soon as she sits. So you're adding a little bit of condition. I'm just laughing because I'm smelling a skunk. I don't know if like there's a skunk on the leash, or maybe my imagination is playing tricks with me. Okay, so coming up with the amount of exercise, she really needs that exercise. Also remember the doggy backpack. You might want to get her one of those and put a couple bottles of water. That makes the walk a little bit more efficient. And avoid dogs and people while she's until we get a chance to have you take the loose leash walking class, and maybe try different times of the day. Sometimes you might find a time of the day where she's less likely to be reactive because she's not going to see as many people. Also, they have big energy zones in the morning, sunrise and sunset. So around those times, try to get her a good amount of exercise. Okay, we also talked about the importance of rules and structure and dog psychology versus human psychology. Remember, enforcing rules is not mean, and breaking a rule is a horrible way to reward a dog. So if you want to reward her, give her a belly rub, take her for a walk, play games or something like that. Don't break a rule for that. So I'd also recommend that you get a cooling mat. You can get those on Amazon or Chewy. They're usually blue. It would be probably about the same width as your table there, your stand under your TV. What I would do is I would go over there, show her you have a treat, drop the treat on there. When she puts at least 1 or more paws on it, come up with a word, maybe Jamaica means to go to the cooling mat, and then wait for her to vacate and drop another one there. Do that with about 15 treats. Then kind of walk away. And I would probably put something to brace it up so you could actually throw them from here. Then basically, when she's not paying attention, leave one there when she's not looking. And don't point it out. When she goes over there and finds it, say Jamaica. And remember, just the command word, not good Jamaica, just Jamaica. So the first way I do is I throw about 15 treats. I do that about 3 or 4 times the first day. And then when she's not looking, I leave a treat there. And so she's like, man, I'm seeing me throw treats. I come over here and good things happen. And then after a while, I start kind of checking that place out because, he was throwing a bunch of treats. It smells like treats. Now every time I look, there's a treat there. And every time I go over there, I hear the word Jamaica. The third way I do it is I lead the dog onto it. I put him in a sit or a down. I put the treat in her mouth and say the word Jamaica. And so you're helping him lay down. Usually within a very short period of time, the dog starts laying there and hanging out. Well, it's between you and the TV. So she's going to be like, wow, look at my human. She loves me. She's looking at me all day long. We're really just watching the TV above. And we've created a command word for her to go there. And I would like to come back and show you a relaxation protocol, and that would be a perfect place for her to do that. And so make sure you call Becca and get that scheduled about a month from now, because I'd like you to work on the stuff we're talking about in this video for about a month and then come back and start working on the relaxation protocol. So eventually you can have workers or people wandering around your house or whatever going on. She knows I'm just going to stay on this mat and I'm going to stay completely cool as a cucumber. All right. So remember, anything your dog is doing when you pet it is what you're reinforcing, including unbalanced states of mind like fear, stress, and anxiety. If you want to comfort your dog, lay your hand on her. But if she's stressful, either move her away from it or distract her. Don't pet her. Remember also, anything the dog does in your presence that you don't disagree with is the same thing as giving your thumbs up to. The only caveat to this is if the dog's barking at me for attention. Remember, good attention, bad attention, same thing. So if she barks at me, I say quiet, well then that got my attention. But if she's barking at the door, then I might go over there and correct that. Or if she's chewing on something or crossing the carpet like I talked about. Also, try to be cognizant of what you're saying. Just say the command word only. I say it twice. Sit. When the dog sits, I pet and say sit, not good sit or good girl. And that's one of the hardest things I hate. I'm not saying good girl is bad, but it doesn't help you. But if you say the command word, that does help you. It helps her learn a lot faster. Also, be careful of talking to the dog as if she speaks English. She's German. I'm pretty sure she speaks German. But we say come here, come here, over here, here girl, dog's nickname, whistle, tap my thigh. Now I've got to listen for 10 expressions. And as humans, we say between 2,000 and 11,000 words a day. That's a lot of words to listen to. It's much easier if we always say come or here. Just pick one word and make a list of the official command words and try to exclusively use that word. Not sits, sit. And they also hear pronunciation. So if she sits, don't say sit, 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 sit. Say it the same way. She can learn a lot faster. Okay, we also, some of the rules we covered, she shouldn't be allowed to be standing within 7 feet of you when you're eating. So I had you write this down, but just go to doggonproblems.com, click on where it says dog training tips, and click on where it says, or in the search box, type in invisible or kitchen, and it shows you how to enforce invisible line. Practice that and set up a practice session. So have a snack here, and the saying it's really smelly, so you can help her practice staying away from it. Also, I would give her an out or an away command. I would say away means I throw the treat just away and she goes 10 feet away. Out would mean like if I'm in the kitchen, I threw the treat right outside the kitchen doorway and she goes 3 feet outside the kitchen, she's completely out, then I would say out. So out means leave the room, away means move away from me. So it's a distinction, but there's a little bit of a difference. And all I do is just throw that treat, and when she goes out, say the word out. And then go to the next doorway, throw a treat. I usually throw 2 out for every doorway. And after a while, you should be able to say out. If she runs out of the room, then you go give her the treat for going out. Before I forget, I'm going to go over the technique on how to teach her to stop barking when people move around. Now, if you go to my website and search for Koby, C-O-B-Y, there's a little Chihuahua where I have a video where I explain this. Now, she's a lot bigger than the Chihuahua. So what I do is I have the high values, probably the Stewart's treats, and you got to have somebody that you're comfortable with and make sure you set her up for success. She's exercised first, has 10 minutes to recover. The guest comes over, is confident with the dog. You're confident with the guest being around. So basically, what the first thing I do, and make sure she's about 2 or 3 feet away, and have the guest tell her to sit. When they sit, give her the treat, and then kind of slowly stand up, and then sit right back down. And when they stand up, have them, if the dog's here, turn away from the dog. Direct eye contact can be a challenge. So what I would do is do this 2 or 3 times in a row. So I give her and while she's chewing it, then I slowly stand up and turn this, not too slow, but not fast, not a quick jerky movement. Then I sit back down right away, wait for her to get done chewing, give her another one. Do that for about 3 to 5 treats. And then on the 5th or 6th treat, then I would slowly stand up and then give the dog the treat like 1 second after, not even a second, like as soon as you're standing up, boom, the treat's there. And then sit back down. And then do that for about 3 to 10 treats. If she starts getting stiff or your gut tells you that she's not, tell the time out. That's enough. And then the person would throw the treat away and she runs away from the person. Then you put her on a leash or take her outside. Eventually what we like to do is do the stand up, and I wait a second, and then I give her the treat, and then I sit back down. And I do that for 5 to 10 treats. Then after a while, stand up 2 seconds before I give her the treat. And 3 seconds. At first, until you get up to about 10 seconds, when I stand up, I'll be holding the Stewart's treat right here. So she's looking at it, she knows what's coming. If she does bark or snap or do any of these things, we move too far too fast. So keep it shorter, less than 90 seconds max, but probably even shorter than that, less than a minute. And eventually we get to the point where now we're standing and the person's standing there for 15 seconds, and then they give the treat. And after you do that enough times, then you can stand up and take 1 step, stop, and then give her the treat right away. And then eventually work up to about 5 seconds, give her the treat. Eventually you get to the point where the person stands up, gives her the treat, takes a step, gives her a treat, another step, gives her a treat, and maybe walks around the table, and she's kind of following behind. He's giving the treat, and if possible, have the person tell her to sit if she's standing. Sitting is less of a challenge. And eventually you get to the point where they stand up and take 1, 2 steps and then treat. Then 2 steps and treat. Then 3 steps before she gets a treat. So what we're saying is when a person gets up and moves around, instead of you barking at them, that's an indicator you're about to get a treat. That's a wonderful, positive dog training lesson. And in concert with all the things that we're coming over here about the rules and structure, she's going to feel less a need to protect you and also not think that it's her job to disagree with those people, because when they move around, they're just pizza delivery people for dog treats. Okay, so some of the other rules, shouldn't be allowed in the kitchen when you're cooking, which she does. Another one is sit at the door. So go to the door, tell her to sit 1 time. If she doesn't sit within 3 seconds, walk away and sit down. And if she's whining or whimpering, wait for her to be done. Then start waiting 1 minute, then go back to the door and command her to sit again, only once, and she has 3 seconds to comply. If she doesn't, then we walk and sit down for 2 minutes, then for 4 minutes, then for 8 minutes. So keep on double length of time till eventually she sits, and as soon as she sits, you open that door open, unless there's dogs outside. So eventually she'll sit as her way of saying, I'd like to go out the door. Now she likes to pound at that door and also the doors and the windows in the front. So get that white paper, go to Kinko's, ask them, that long banner thing that you do that's 3 feet wide, I need, and measure it out and cut it out exactly so it looks nice and clean, and tape those to the windows, usually the inside of the window for these up here so she can't scratch it down. I would maybe do it on both sides of the window there. And that way she can't see outside, and that's going to help reduce her barking. Okay, so, and also look for other rules. Like, you want me to put on the leash? Sit. Remember, go to the leash, tell her to sit one time. Don't start reaching for it yet. Get to the leash and stand there in a neutral position. Sit. If she sits within 3 seconds, start reaching. As soon as she gets up, pull your arm back, say sit. If she sits, then I reach again. She gets up, I stop, and I say sit. I do that. I would say that maybe 3 times, 4 times. Finally, the fifth time, I would reach. She gets up. If she sits, then I would reach again. So we're teaching her this is, remember, what we want to do is teach her each step along the way what we want her to do. When I go to the leash, I want you to sit down and to stay sitting and to stay calm the entire process. So eventually I'll be able to reach and touch it. And you get up and I put it back down, I tell you to sit. And practice this at times when you're not taking her for a walk. Desensitize her from that. That's an example of classical conditioning. So eventually you'll be able to go there, sit, she sits, you pick up the leash, you attach it, and put the harness on her, and she is completely calm. Same thing with the harness. Practice putting the harness on her when you're not going for a walk. Just sit down right there on the floor. Exercise her first. Give her 10 minutes to recover. Then just ask her, okay, and what I would do is for that one, each step along the way. So I kind of maybe have her, maybe you could lure her. If the harness is here, she puts her foot there, and then you give her a treat. Then she puts the next foot in the next part of the harness, you give her another treat. Or you can manipulate her if you want to, but I prefer to lure her. And eventually, for each stage, I put this in and I get a treat. Then this in and I get a treat. Then you pull it up and I get a treat. Then you clip it and I get a treat. And then you clip it here and I get a treat. And then you let her wear it for a little bit and then you take it off. So, we're going to do the harness thing. I like this game. This means you're going to give me like about 5 or 10 treats at first. Then eventually you go boom, boom, and I get a treat. And then 3 movements before I get a treat. And eventually the whole thing goes on and then I get the treat. But this is all independent of going for a walk. Remember, excited is not the same thing as happy. We want her to practice being calm and being leashed up while she is completely calm. That's going to produce a much better walk for you. Before you walk her, make sure you exercise her first. Give her that 10 minutes to recover. The one thing I remembered now, a doggy backpack. Might want to get her a doggy backpack. They should be about anywhere from about 40 to 80, 90 bucks. Don't go one too big, but don't go too cheap or too expensive. But if you go one too cheap, it'll fall apart. But giving her and putting weight in that helps with her, helps her feel more relaxed and confident. Also, you mentioned that she doesn't like going to the vet. Well, if you think about it, when we go to the doctor, it's not really a pleasant experience for us. We're not feeling good, and then the doctor's trying to put his finger in places we'd rather they don't put their finger. So what you want to do instead is create a positive association with that. So get her in their car, drive her to the vet's office on a Sunday or Saturday or after hours, and just get her out of and she's whining, anxious. Just get there and park the car and just sit there and have a magazine and just sit there and read. Don't give her any attention. Any attention is validating. So don't say anything. Wait for her to settle down. When she settles down, give her a treat and say the name of the vet's office, Fort Street, and turn around and drive back home. And then you start doing this. So she goes there, she sees the parking lot, she sees all this stuff, and I'm whining, whimpering. It's like I'm invisible, I'm human. As soon as I settle down, I get a treat. And then after a while, maybe she settles down, you wait 5 seconds before you give her the treat, then 10 seconds, 15. And get to the point where she's completely calm, and she can sit there for a minute completely calm. Then you open the door a little bit. She's going to get up while you close the door and just wait for her to settle down. When she is, then you can give her a treat or you can open the door again. So you're getting, again, stages. And you eventually get to the point where you go there, she's calm, you open the door, she stays calm, you get out of the car, she stays calm. These are all steps you practice. Then you have her come out of the car and tell her to sit, give her a treat, maybe do a little bit of focus exercise, walk to the door, tell her to sit, focus exercise, then go back in the car and go home. So we're just saying going to the vet's office isn't something to be stressed about. This is an amazing place to go, which it is. Fort Street's awesome vet. But it also means that if I go here, then I'm going to get a lot of treats. And my guardian waits for me to be calm and relaxed before we go in the next stage. And then eventually what you would do is ask the vet's office, hey, what time do you close? Or when are you dead? And try to go at those times. Or a lot of vets' offices, if you ask them, hey, can we come a little bit at closing time on Saturday? If they close at 1, I don't know what time they close. But say, hey, would you mind staying open an extra 10 minutes? I just want to have her come in the lobby, get some treats, and then leave. And so now you go in the lobby, and then eventually you're sitting down, and eventually you're sitting down at a time when they're slower, and eventually the vet techs come over, and they're giving her a treat, and then they walk away, and they give her a treat, and they walk away, and they could just throw a treat at her over the desk at first. And so you're helping her practice having a very positive experience. And the vet isn't touching her, no shots, no fingers, none of that stuff. And eventually you go into an exam room. And eventually you get her on the table. So you do all these things independently. And by the time you finally go in there for exam, she's like, this is like my favorite place to go. And the vet loves it because the vet is, you're relaxed, and the vet's nice to relax, and the dog's nice to relax. All it takes is practice. Remember, we always try to train our dogs in the hardest situation possible. Then we wonder why they fail. Well, if we do a little homework, just like I described, we can put the dog in a position to succeed and actually have a positive experience and like going to the vet's office. I know there's a dog with their nails getting trimmed, brushing their teeth, all sorts of different stuff. Okay, we also talked about petting with a purpose and passive training. So petting with a purpose. If she comes and nudges you, she's telling you what to do. So you scratch your nose like Dominic just did. But if she nudges you, you give her a counter order. Remember, leaders tell, followers ask. So if she tells you what to do and you pet her, you're telling her, yeah, you're the boss of me. So if she nudges you, sit. If she's already sitting here, ask her to sit over here or tell her to lay down. And if she doesn't do it within 3 seconds, remember, playing hard to get works great for dog training. So if she doesn't sit, then you show her, I got other things going on. By not giving her as much attention, you make your attention much more valuable. And you make yourself more of that authority figure because, man, she's not a pushover anymore. I got to earn this attention. And she'll realize I can't tell you anymore. I have to ask. And better than ask, I have to pay for it. And she'll start coming and sitting down to prepay for the attention. When she does, make sure you pet her. Otherwise, she'll go back to nudging you. Pet her as much as a little as you want. Say the word sit or down. And then if she comes back a second later, what does that mean? We probably need some exercise. And so basically what you're saying is if you want my attention, you have to do something and you have to achieve a more subordinate body mechanic and do something to earn it. And remember, if anybody else is here to use the word paycheck means I suspect you forgot to pet with a purpose, but for you, it's going to be hard. So put Post-it notes on top of your TV and different places you're going to look because you're going to catch yourself, oh, shoot, I'm petting her. Then just tell her to do something else. And then when you catch her, you'll get yourself caught up, but you're going to make a lot of mistakes. That's okay. Just recover from that and make her do something else. Now, the offshoot of that is passive training, which is just waiting for the dog to organically offer the behavior. It's really operant conditioning. So basically, every time she comes to you, pet her and say, come. Every time she sits, pet her and say, sit. Every time she lays down, pet her and say, down. Side saddle, or sachet, maybe is a better word. And then flop if she lays on her side and she gives you her belly. Pet her and call it pancake or whatever the words are. Remember to try to come up with those funny command words to achieve that that humor for humans will actually have a positive impact for her. For the dog bed, just go on there, show you have the crack, throw it a piece of it on there on the dog bed. If she jumps up there, call it some Hilton or whatever it is. So Hilton means just go to the dog bed. And eventually you can get her up there longer and longer periods of time. She goes up there and you wait a second before you give the treat. And then you wait 2 seconds and 3 seconds. But at first just throw a bunch of them. She gets up, it gets down, gets up, gets down. That's fine. But eventually start elongating it. And then what you could do, if you want to have her practice being in the bed with you, get like a dumbbell or something, put a cover down on your bedspread so she's not going to make it nasty. And then get a long bully stick from your friends at the green spot. And drill a hole through it and then attach it to the dumbbell. So she has to be on the bed chewing this thing. And you're on the bed watching TV or reading a book. And now she's practicing being there, what you wanted her to do. And she's having a good thing happen. Remember, come up with a command word that needs to go to the top of the bed. Also, I'd like you to go here. The odor-free bully sticks, the ones that they sell here, are a little bit more expensive, but they're odor-free. Your nose will thank you for them. So they're a little bit more expensive, but they're worth it. I would also highly, highly, highly recommend getting her a kneecap. If she likes it, you'll probably have a couple of them laying around, but remember, a kneecap's like 4 or 5 chews, where a bully stick is 1 chew unless it's a really big one. And I would get a probably bigger one for what I just described being on the bed. I wouldn't let her have the kneecap on the bed because they are kind of a mess. But it's a nice way. Remember, when she's stressed out, she needs to chew, and exercising her before things are going to be stressful will put her in a much better situation. Now, make sure that you contact Becca and schedule a 1-hour follow-up session. Where are we right now? The end of February, so maybe beginning of April, and I'll show you how to do the relaxation protocol. And then and I also mentioned to Becca that you want to do the loose leash walking class. For you, I don't want you to use that prong collar anymore. It's going to make more problems. It's a ticking time bomb. And that 4-week class is well worth it because eventually you can walk around other dogs and people and squirrels, and she just will not react. She just walks to the loose leash. You'll enjoy the walk. You'll walk her more often, and it's a positive experience for everybody. Any other questions? Anything else I forgot to go over?
No, I think you pretty much covered it.
It's like I've done this before. All right, I'm David. Behind the camera is Dominique, and outside is Macy, and this is Macy's Roadmap to Success. Remember, everything you do trains your dog. Only sometimes you mean it.